Dottie looked at the door. It was a closet door. The door had a silver handle. The silver handle was round. The round silver handle was a doorknob. One day she tried to turn the doorknob. She tried to open the closet door, but the doorknob didn't turn. She couldn't open the closet door. The closet door wouldn't open. The door was locked. "Why is the door locked?" Dottie asked her mom. Her mom said it was locked for her safety. "What's behind the door?" she asked her mom. Her mom said a rifle was behind the locked door. Daddy kept a rifle in the closet. The cat was not moving. It was lying in the grass. The cat was black and white. It was a pretty black and white cat. It was cold outside. The cat was lying on its stomach. It was dark outside. The porch light shined on the cat. The cat looked at Sissy. "Mom, can I have the cat?" she asked her mom. Her mom came outside on the porch. She looked at the cat. "That is a pretty cat," her mom said. "Can I have it?" Sissy asked. Her mom said no. Maybe the cat belonged to another family. Maybe the cat was wild. If it was wild, it might bite Sissy. His dad liked to fly balloons. His dad bought big balloons and filled them with helium. Helium is a gas. It is a gas that makes balloons float into the sky. One day his dad brought home a new balloon. He took it out of the box. He took it outside. He tied the balloon to spikes with ropes. The spikes were in the ground. The ropes and spikes kept the balloon on the ground. He filled the balloon with helium. He asked Junior what the new balloon looked like. "It looks like a flying saucer," said Junior. "It looks like a real flying saucer. Is there an alien inside?" Davy was 10. His dad was driving the car. The radio was on. His dad was listening to the radio. The man on the radio was talking about an accident. The accident was on the freeway. 2 people were dead. The accident had just happened 30 minutes ago. His dad told him that life can be short. Accidents happen everywhere. They happen to everyone. "You must always be careful, Davy," his dad said. "Never be in a hurry. Always pay attention to other drivers." Davy said he would be a careful driver. He would never be in a hurry. He would always pay attention. "Can I drive the car now?" he asked his dad. He looked in the mirror. What were all those red spots on his face? Every morning he had fresh red spots on his face. Were they insect bites? Were insects biting him at night? What were those red spots? They would usually disappear in a few hours. Then his face would look normal. It would look like a normal face. It would have no red spots. But every morning he had an ugly face. All those red spots. What was happening at night? Was it his pillow? Was something in his pillow? Was something in his pillow making the red spots? He would buy a new pillow. Maybe his pillow was the problem. She won the contest. She won the Rose Queen contest. She was the new queen for the Rose Parade. She was so happy. She would be in the parade on New Year's Day. She was so excited. She would be on TV. Millions of people would see her. She would wave to people on the sidewalks in Pasadena. Pasadena was the home of the Rose Parade. Every year, thousands of people spent New Year's Eve on the sidewalks of Pasadena. They wanted to see the Rose Parade. Almost 50 floats are in the Rose Parade every year. All the floats are beautiful. They have lots of beautiful flowers. She would ride on a beautiful float. She would wave to everyone. Her parents and friends were so happy for her. He played the piano. He played it very well. He started playing the piano when he was 6 years old. That was 7 years ago. Now he was 13 years old. He was very good. He won one piano contest after another. A famous piano teacher heard him play the piano. The teacher said, "I want to bring you to New York. I will teach you how to be even better. I will teach you how to be the best piano player in the whole world." He didn't like that idea. He wanted to stay at home. He wanted to stay with his parents and his friends. His parents wanted him to go. They said they would visit him in New York every weekend. The country is full of criminals. Criminals are in every city. Criminals are on every block. They break all the laws. They don't care about the laws. There are thousands of laws. The criminals break all the laws. They laugh when they break the laws. The police watch the criminals. They try to arrest the criminals. The criminals shoot at the police. They kill the police. Last week they shot down a police helicopter. The helicopter crashed to the ground. The criminals ran over to the helicopter. All the policemen on the helicopter were dead. The criminals stole the guns from the dead policemen. They walked away from the helicopter. They were laughing. The woman had 8 babies at one time. She was famous. Nobody could believe it. It was a world record. How could anyone have 8 babies at one time? Her doctor had given her special drugs. The special drugs made her have 8 babies. She was happy to have 8 babies. "I grew up all alone," she told the reporters. "I did not like being alone. I decided that I would have many babies when I grew up. So now I have many babies. I am so happy. I am a lucky woman to have 8 babies. I will love them all, and they will all love me." The bathroom wall had a nail in it. He pulled the nail out of the wall. It was a big nail. When he pulled the nail out, a hole was in the wall. It was a big hole. He wanted to repair the hole. He went to Walmart. Walmart has everything for sale. Walmart is a very popular store. He asked a clerk, "How can I fix a nail hole in my bathroom wall?" The clerk said it was very simple. A nail hole was easy to fix. "Just buy this tube of nail hole filler, then squeeze it into the hole," the clerk said. He took the filler home. He squeezed it into the hole. He let the filler dry overnight. The next day, there was no hole. Susan didn't like the color of her hair. Her hair was changing color. It used to be all black, but now it was turning gray. She didn't like the gray hair. Gray hair made her look older. She didn't want to look older. She made an appointment with the beauty salon. A week later she went to the beauty salon. The hairdresser colored Susan's hair. She added a little bit of purple color to Susan's hair. When the hairdresser finished, Susan looked at her hair. She liked it. She couldn't see any gray hair. All she could see was black hair with a little bit of purple tint. The purple tint looked nice. Susan hoped her boyfriend would like it. There was something wrong with his leg. It burned, but it burned in one spot only. He didn't know what was wrong. The spot was smaller than a dime. It was on the back of his leg. He picked up a hand mirror. He used the hand mirror to look at the back of his leg. He saw a small lump. He put his finger on the lump. The lump was hard. It wasn't a soft lump. The lump felt like a small stone. It was like a small stone under his skin. But it was like a small stone that was on fire. It burned. Something was wrong. He needed to see a doctor. He had very little money. It was cold outside. It was winter. But he was inside. He was inside his apartment. Right now he was okay because he was inside his apartment. But next month he would not be okay. Next month he would be outside his apartment. He had lost his job. He couldn't pay his rent. He had called his landlord. He asked his landlord if he could stay an extra month for free. His landlord said no. His landlord said, "If you can't pay the rent, you must go." Where could he go? He would sleep in his car, but a car is a cold place in the winter. He was very sad. They walked onto the dock. They got into the boat. They had all their fishing gear. They were going fishing. They loved to go fishing. Sometimes they caught a lot of fish. Sometimes they caught a couple of fish. Sometimes they caught no fish. But fishing was fun even if they caught no fish. The boat left the dock. The boat stopped in the middle of the lake. Everyone put worms on their hooks. Some people put live worms on their hooks. Some people put dead worms on their hooks. Some people put rubber worms on their hooks. Everyone dropped their hooks into the water. Then they waited. They waited for the fish to bite the worms. He loved his new jacket. It was his favorite jacket. He loved the color. It was tan. He loved the weight. It was medium weight. It was not too light. It was not too heavy. He loved the fit. It fit him well. He put the jacket on. He looked at the jacket in the mirror. It looked good. What a good-looking jacket, he thought. He went to the doctor's office. The office was warm. He took his jacket off. He put it on the chair next to him. A nurse called his name. He stood up. He went to the examination room. He forgot that his jacket was on the chair. But it wasn't on the chair for long. Another patient took it home. Patty needed help with her computer. She asked a co-worker to help her. Patty said she would treat her co-worker to a nice dinner. Her co-worker asked, "What kind of dinner?" Patty said a nice Chinese dinner. Her co-worker said that sounded good. She would come over to Patty's apartment at 7 o'clock. Patty went home after work. She made a delicious Chinese dinner. But her co-worker didn't show up at 7 o'clock. Her co-worker didn't show up at 7:30. Her co-worker didn't call. Patty called her co-worker. No one answered. At 9:30, Patty went to bed. The phone rang. It was her co-worker. Patty didn't answer the phone. Tomorrow she would ask someone else to help her. He was bored. He wanted to do something fun. He wanted to do something fun with his friend. He called up his friend. "I'm bored. Let's do something fun," he said. His friend said, "That sounds great. I'm glad you called. I'm bored too. What do you want to do?" He said he wanted to go to the beach. His friend said that sounded great. He picked up his friend in his car. They went to the beach. They threw a frisbee to each other. They swam in the ocean. They built a big sand castle. They watched the sailboats. They watched the seagulls. He drove his friend home. "That was fun. Let's do it again sometime," his friend said. He was driving home. He couldn't wait to get home. He was hungry. He hadn't eaten in 8 hours. 8 hours ago he had eaten 2 hot dogs. The hot dogs were delicious. He had put lots of mustard, onions, and relish on the hot dogs. They were so delicious. He got home. He walked upstairs. He walked into his apartment. He opened his refrigerator. He took a package out of the refrigerator. It was a package of hot dogs. He took 2 hot dogs out of the package. He put them into the microwave. He took mustard, onions, and relish out of his refrigerator. He grabbed 2 hot dog buns. He was ready to eat 2 more delicious hot dogs. She went to the circus with her parents. She was excited. She had never been to a circus. There were many clowns at the circus. She liked the clowns. They had funny faces. They had big red noses. They wore funny hats. They wore big shoes. Their shoes were much bigger than her dad's shoes. They were twice as big as her dad's shoes. The clowns had loud horns. They honked their horns at each other. They didn't talk. They used their horns to talk. Honk, honk. She laughed at the clowns. They were so funny. They made her laugh. She told her dad, "Daddy, guess what? When I grow up, I'm going to be a clown." His dad was reading one section of the newspaper. His mom was reading another section of the newspaper. His older sister was reading another section of the newspaper. He had the comics section of the newspaper. That was the best part of the newspaper. He didn't understand the words. He wasn't able to read, but he liked the comics. He liked the drawings. They were all different. All the animals were different. All the people were different. All the drawings were black and white. He colored the drawings with his crayons. He showed the colored drawings to his mom. She liked them. "Those are beautiful colors," his mom said. "Someday you will be a famous painter." He had to clean out his apartment. There was so much to clean out. He had hundreds of books. What was he going to do with them? He couldn't keep all of them. He was moving to a smaller apartment. There was no room for all his books in his new apartment. There was no room for his bicycle. What was he going to do with his bicycle? He had a big TV. The TV was too big for his new apartment. What was he going to do with his big TV? He called up his brother. "Do you want my books, my bike, and my TV?" he asked. His brother said, "You should have a yard sale." She looked at the man. He was walking on the sidewalk. She did not know this man. He was a stranger. She did not trust this man. He did not live in this neighborhood. She was driving her car slowly. She was almost home. She drove past the man. She watched him in her rear-view mirror. He stopped walking on the sidewalk. He walked up her neighbor's driveway. A car was in the driveway. He walked up to the driver's door. He stopped. Then he walked back to the sidewalk. What was he doing, she wondered. Then she realized what he was doing. He was testing the driver's door. He was testing it to see if it was locked. She called the police. It was September. People were getting sick all over the world. They were getting sick from the flu. The flu was called H1N1. Some people called it swine flu. The swine farmers did not like that. They said, "Stop calling it swine flu. Swine don't have the flu. You can't get the flu from eating swine." Swine are also called pigs. We get bacon and ham from pigs. We get pork from pigs. But we don't get the flu from pigs. We get the flu from a virus. The H1N1 virus was making everyone sick. In October, they distributed a new vaccine. The new vaccine protected most people from the virus. The people were happy. The swine farmers were happy. Jack was angry. Joe owed him money. Joe owed him $100. Joe had borrowed $100 a month ago. He had borrowed the money 30 days ago. He said he would pay Jack back the next week. He said that he would pay Jack back in 7 days. But he didn't pay Jack back in 7 days. He didn't pay Jack back in 14 days, or 21 days, or 28 days. After 30 days, Jack was very angry. He called up Joe. "You owe me $100. You borrowed $100 from me 30 days ago. Where is my money? I want my money now," Jack said. Joe said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. I borrowed $100 from you. I owe you $100. Can I pay you back next week?" "It is flu season. You must be careful. It is very easy to catch the flu. You should wash your hands often. You should get a flu shot. A flu shot will help protect you. But there is a problem with a flu shot. The problem is the needle. The nurse will stick a needle in your arm. Your arm will be sore for a day, maybe 2 days. Nobody likes to have a sore arm. But which is worse, a sore arm or a sore body? A sore body is worse than a sore arm. Do you want your arm to hurt, or do you want your whole body to hurt? Your body will hurt for a week. Maybe it will hurt for 2 weeks. Carol and Mary are friends. Carol said she would call Mary at 7 o'clock. Carol didn't call at 7. She didn't call at 7:15. She finally called at 7:30. She apologized for calling so late. Mary said it was okay, but it wasn't okay. Mary didn't like people to lie. This wasn't the first time Carol had lied. This was the 4th time Carol had lied. Mary did not trust Carol. Carol would never be her best friend. A best friend tells the truth. A best friend doesn't lie. A best friend does not call late. A best friend does not arrive late. A best friend is always on time. Don had a pistol. It was a small pistol. He offered it to his brother Tony. Tony looked at the pistol. It was a beautiful pistol. It was black. It had a silver trigger. Tony put his finger on the silver trigger. He put the pistol in his pocket. He took it out of his pocket. He walked outside. He saw a bird on a wire. He aimed the pistol at the bird. He pulled the trigger. He said, "If the gun was loaded, I would have killed the bird." Don said, "I'm glad it wasn't loaded. You shouldn't kill birds." Tony thanked Don for the pistol. "I like this pistol. Thank you," Tony said. He took the pistol home with him. Jane called Lisa. Lisa said she was eating. She was eating dinner. Lisa asked Jane to call her back. Jane said she would call Lisa back. She called Lisa back the next day. Lisa said she was eating. She was eating lunch. Lisa asked Jane to call her back. Jane said she would call Lisa back. She called Lisa back the next day. Lisa said she was eating. She was eating breakfast. Lisa asked Jane to call her back. Jane said she would call Lisa back. The next day Jane called Lisa back. Lisa was eating. She was eating a snack. Lisa asked Jane to call her back. Jane said, "No, you call me back. You call me back when you aren't eating." Up, down, up, down. Billy was doing push-ups. His arms were bent. His palms were on the ground. His toes were on the ground. His back was straight. His belly was close to the ground. His nose was close to the ground. Then he straightened his arms. Now his nose was almost 2 feet above the ground. His back was straight. His arms were straight. His head was higher than his feet. His feet were lower than his head. That was one push-up. Then Billy bent his arms. His nose and belly almost touched the ground. Then he straightened his arms again. That was another push-up. Billy did 8 more push-ups. He did 10 push-ups. He did 10 push-ups every day. It was late at night. The plane flew through the air. It flew through the air very fast. It flew through the air at 500 miles per hour. 500 miles per hour is very fast. A train does not go 500 miles per hour. A bus does not go 500 miles per hour. A ship does not go 500 miles per hour. Both the pilot and co-pilot were very sleepy. They both fell asleep. The plane flew past the city. Then the pilot and co-pilot woke up. They turned the plane around. They went back to the city. They landed at the airport. Their boss was angry. He asked, "Why is the plane late? Did you two fall asleep?" They both said, "Of course not, boss." She liked to feed popcorn to the pigeons. The pigeons liked to eat her popcorn. She put popcorn in her hand. A pigeon ate the popcorn in her hand. She put popcorn on her shoulder. A pigeon ate the popcorn on her shoulder. She put popcorn in her hair. A pigeon ate the popcorn in her hair. She sat down on a bench. It was a wooden bench in the park. She put popcorn all over the bench. She put popcorn all over her clothes. She put popcorn on her head. She put popcorn on her lap. Many pigeons landed on the bench. Many pigeons landed on her. Nobody could see her. Nobody could see the bench. His ear had a tiny air bubble in it. It bothered him a lot. He could hear an echo when he talked. The echo bothered him a lot. He tried to get rid of the tiny air bubble. He squeezed his nose, closed his mouth, and blew really hard. Nothing happened. He shook his head like a wet dog. Nothing happened. He stood on his head for 10 minutes. Nothing happened. He stuck his finger deep in his ear and pulled it out quickly. Nothing happened. The doctor gave him nose drops. Nothing happened. The doctor gave him eardrops. Nothing happened. He took a walk on a winter day. He slipped on the ice. He hit his head on the sidewalk. The bubble was gone. She was thinking about her boyfriend. Why did she stay with him? Why didn't she leave him? She didn't trust him. He said that he loved her, but he was mean to her. He said bad things. He said she was too fat. He said she should eat less. He did bad things. He gave her a cheap card from the 99-cent store for her birthday. He gave her a bag of apples for Christmas. Then he ate all the apples. He said things that made her cry. He did things that made her cry. Then he said he was sorry. He always said he was sorry. She wanted to leave him. She wanted to find another boyfriend. But she didn't leave him. She loved him too much. Dad took his son Chris to the baseball game. The Los Angeles Dodgers were playing the San Francisco Giants. The Dodgers were the home team. The Giants were the visiting team. Dad and Chris walked into Dodger Stadium. Many people were there. Most of them wanted to see the Dodgers win. They wanted to see the Giants lose. Dad and Chris found their seats. They sat down. The game had already started. Chris told his dad he was hungry. His dad bought 2 bags of peanuts for Chris. He bought 2 hot dogs for Chris. He bought a big soda for Chris. A foul ball came their way. People dived for the foul ball. They knocked Chris's soda over. His dad bought him another soda. Debbie was in the 1st grade. Her brother Tommy was in the 2nd grade. They lived in Florida. They lived in a small town in Florida. They walked to school in the morning. They walked home from school in the afternoon. On Monday, Debbie and Tommy were walking home. They were walking with a couple of Tommy's friends. Tommy told his friends that Debbie still sucked her thumb. "She still sucks her thumb," he said. His friends laughed. Debbie started to cry. She ran away from Tommy and his friends. When Tommy got home, his mom asked, "Where's Debbie?" Tommy said he didn't know. He thought she was already home. "No, she's not home," his mom said. She called the neighbors. Then she called the police. Nancy took her daughter Donna to the park. The park had lots of trees. It had lots of squirrels and birds. The squirrels ran up and down the trees. The squirrels chased one another. The squirrels played with one another. The birds flew around. They flew down to the ground. They flew up into the trees. The squirrels and birds were good neighbors. Nancy sat down on a bench. She took a magazine out of her purse. She turned the pages of the magazine. Donna ran over to a squirrel. She tried to catch the squirrel. Then she tried to catch a bird. Donna chased the squirrels and birds. She never caught one squirrel. She never caught one bird, but she had a lot of fun. He was talking on the phone. The phone was on the table in the dining room. He was talking to his friend. They were talking about the weather. It was raining. There was a knock on his door. Someone was knocking on his door. He went to the door. He opened the door. No one was there. He went back to the phone. The doorbell rang. Someone was ringing his doorbell. He went to the door. He opened the door. No one was there. He went back to the phone. There was another knock on his door. He kept talking. The doorbell rang again. He kept talking. "Fool me once, shame on you," he thought. "Fool me twice, shame on me," he thought. She offered her car to her brother. He said he would think about it. "Let me think about it," he said. She called him up a week later. "Do you want my car for free?" she asked. He said, "I'm thinking about it." She asked, "How long do you have to think about it?" He said he didn't know. "Let me think about it some more," he said. She called up a charity. She said, "Do you want my car for free?" The man at the charity said yes. She asked, "You don't have to think about it?" He said, "No, I don't have to think about it, Who has to think about a free car? He picked up her car the next day. She was a babysitter in her home. She took care of 10 little children. They were not her little children. They were the sons and daughters of other people. She did not have a son. She did not have a daughter. She was not a mother. She was a babysitter. The children were 1 to 4 years old. She babysat them all. She kept them in her house all day. They all stayed in her living room. She gave them toys to play with. She gave them books to look at. She gave them pillows and blankets. Some kids played with the toys. Some kids looked at the books. Some kids slept. She usually didn't watch the kids. She usually watched the TV. She went into the laundry room. She was in a hurry. She needed to wash and dry her clothes. Then she needed to go to work. The washer was running. Someone was using the washer. The washer stopped. She opened the lid. She took the damp clothes out of the washer. The damp clothes belonged to someone else. She put their clothes on top of the dryer. She put her own clothes into the washer. She started the washer. Half an hour later, she took her clothes out of the washer. She put her clothes into the dryer. An hour later, she took her clothes out of the dryer. Then she went to work. She left the damp clothes on top of the dryer. She was a nurse. It was flu season, but she didn't get a flu shot. All the other nurses got a flu shot. All the doctors got a flu shot, but she didn't get a flu shot. Flu shots made her sick. She got a flu shot when she was a little girl. The flu shot made her very sick. She spent a week in the hospital. Then she came home. She spent 3 weeks in bed. She was sick for about a month. After that, no more flu shots for her. She never got a flu shot again. She never got the flu either. I never get a flu shot, but I never get the flu, she told her friend. She was a fast eater. She liked to eat fast. She ate like a wolf. I am like a wolf, she said. He was a slow eater. He liked to eat slow. He ate like a turtle. You are like a turtle, she said. She didn't talk at the dinner table. All she did was eat. He liked to talk at the dinner table. He talked about the news. He talked about the weather. He talked about sports. She listened to him talk. She nodded her head. That meant yes. She shook her head. That meant no. He talked. She listened. She never said yes. She never said no. She never said anything. All she did was eat. Flu shots cost $20 at the drugstore. Only a few people are buying the flu shots. There are no long lines. No one is waiting in line. If you want the flu shot, pay $20. You don't have to wait in line. You can get the flu shot immediately. The mayor announced free flu shots. He said, "We will give free flu shots to everyone. Come to the library on Saturday." On Saturday, 2,000 people went to the library. They stood in line for 4 hours. After 4 hours, there were no more free flu shots. They ran out of free flu shots. The drugstore still has many flu shots, but the flu shots at the drugstore aren't free. They cost $20. She walked along the sidewalk. She wasn't paying attention. She was thinking about her boyfriend. He made her angry. He said he didn't want to marry her now. He wanted to marry her later. She wanted to get married now. She didn't want to get married later. Why didn't he want to marry her now? Maybe he didn't want to marry her later either. Maybe he didn't want to marry her ever. Maybe he wanted to meet someone else. Maybe he wanted to marry someone else. She walked straight into a bench. She hurt her leg. Her leg started bleeding. She sat down on the bench. Her leg hurt so much. She tried to stop the bleeding. She looked at the moon. It was big. It was round. It was white. It was big and round and white. It was much bigger than all the stars. The stars were little lights. The moon was a big, bright light. She looked around. She could see other houses. She could see the sidewalk. She could see the street. The moon was bright. It was not as bright as the sun, but it was much brighter than the stars. She looked at the moon. Her dad said, "There is a man in the moon." She looked for the man in the moon. She looked for his eyes. She looked for his nose. She looked for his mouth. She did not see the man in the moon. He loved his job. He had a good job. He was a teacher. He loved to teach. He loved his students. He loved to teach his students. His students listened to him. His students listened to almost every word he said. His students learned from him. They learned how to spell words. They learned how to pronounce words. They learned how to ask questions. They learned how to answer questions. They learned how to think. He taught them how to think. "Don't believe everything you hear," he said. "Don't believe everything you read," he said. "Don't believe everything you see," he said. "Use your head. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is," he said. The janitor cleaned the church every day. He swept the floor with a broom. He mopped the floor with a mop. He vacuumed the carpet with a vacuum cleaner. He cleaned all the windows with a wet cloth. He cleaned the men's bathroom. He cleaned the women's bathroom. He cleaned the sinks in the bathrooms. He cleaned the toilets in the bathrooms. He cleaned the mirrors in the bathrooms. He scrubbed the steps outside the church. He scrubbed the steps with soapy water and a brush. He kept the steps clean. He kept the windows clean. He kept the bathrooms clean. He kept the floors clean. The steps were clean. The windows were clean. The bathrooms were clean. The floors were clean. It was a clean church. She was angry. She was angry with her brother. Her brother didn't help her. She needed to borrow $1,000. She had asked her brother to lend her $1,000. He said no. Her brother said he didn't have $1,000. Her brother was lying. Her brother had $10,000. He had 10 times $1,000. Why did he lie to her? Why didn't he tell her the truth? Why didn't he lend her $1,000? She said, I know you have $10,000. All I want is $1,000. I will pay you back next year. You will get your money back next year. He said no. He said people shouldn't borrow money. He said people shouldn't lend money. But I'm not people, she said. I'm your sister. It is winter. The sky is usually gray. The sun is not big. The sun is not warm. The sun is never high in the sky. It's always low in the sky. The shadows are long. In the morning they are long. In the afternoon they are long. The shadows are cold. The wind blows. The wind blows almost every day. Sometimes it is a strong wind. Paper blows everywhere. It is always a cold wind. People wear heavy jackets. People stand with their hands in their pockets. People blow on their hands to keep their hands warm. You can see people's warm breath. When they breathe, you can see their warm breath. Their breath is like steam from a teapot. Everyone is cold in the winter. Prisons today have too many prisoners. The prisoners sleep in bunk beds. They sleep in triple bunk beds. Triple bunk beds are for 3 prisoners. One prisoner sleeps in the bottom bunk bed. Another prisoner sleeps in the middle bunk bed. Another prisoner sleeps in the top bunk bed. They sleep on top of one another. They sleep beneath one another. Prisoners complain about the triple bunk beds. They don't like the triple bunk beds. Prisons didn't used to have bunk beds. Prisons didn't used to have any beds. Prisoners used to sleep on a cold floor. Prisoners today get 3 meals a day. They get 3 hot meals. Prisoners used to get 1 meal a day. They used to get 1 cold meal. Betty was excited. It was December 1st. Christmas Day was only 24 days away. She was looking at a magazine. It was a magazine for little girls. There were many pictures in the magazine. There were many pictures of dolls. The dolls were from many countries. There were dolls from Mexico. There were dolls from China. There were dolls from France. There were dolls from everywhere. There were so many dolls. She showed the pictures to her mom. "Mommy, will Santa bring me all these dolls?" she asked. "No, honey," her mom said. "Santa will bring you only 1 doll, so pick the one you like best." "But Mommy," she said, "I like them all the best." The big room is air-conditioned, but it smells. Dead bodies are in metal drawers. The bodies have no clothes. The bodies are naked. A white sheet covers each dead body. The drawers slide in. The drawers slide out. A doctor works in the big room with the dead bodies. He works there almost every day. He cuts the bodies open. He cuts them open with a knife. He cuts them open with a saw. He looks at the bodies. He looks inside the bodies. Why did these people die? Why did this young man die? He wonders. He tries to answer the question. Every dead body is a puzzle. The doctor tries to solve the puzzle. Then he tells the police why the people died. Soccer is a fun game. It is very popular. It is popular all over the world. It is fun to watch. It is fun to play. It is a simple game. There are two teams. They play on a big grassy field. There is one ball. There are two goals with nets. Each team tries to kick the ball into the other team's net. The players cannot use their hands. They cannot touch the ball with their hands. They use their feet to move the ball. They use their chests to move the ball. They use their heads to move the ball. The players run back and forth. They slide on the grass. They crash into one another. They play to win. A baby has arms and legs. It has a mouth and eyes. It looks at everything. It eats everything. It smiles a lot. It cries a lot. It eats a lot. It drools a lot. It pees a lot. It poops a lot. It sleeps a lot. It tries to talk. It makes funny sounds. It says goo goo and ga ga. It waves its arms and legs. It doesn't do much else. It doesn't sit up. It doesn't stand up. It doesn't talk. It lies on its back. It lies on its stomach. After a year, it will do many things. It will crawl. It will stand up. It will walk. It will talk. But in the beginning, it just grows. It grows bigger and bigger. It rains a lot in the jungle. The rain helps trees grow. The jungle has many trees. Trees are home for many jungle animals. Many animals live in the trees. Monkeys are jungle animals. Monkeys love trees. They love to swing from tree to tree. They climb down from the trees. They climb back up into the trees. They sit in the trees. They eat their food in the trees. They eat the plants in the trees. They eat the fruit in the trees. They live in the trees with the birds. They live in the trees with the lizards. They live in the trees with the snakes. They live in the trees with the ants. The trees in the jungle are full of animals. She was sitting in a bar. She was drinking beer. She was getting drunk. She started to talk. She started to talk too much. She talked about her cash. She talked about a lot of cash. She had thousands of dollars in her purse. She said she had $20,000 in her purse. She said it out loud. Everyone in the bar heard her. Everyone looked at her. She took some cash out of her purse. She held the money in the air. "Look," she said, "here's $1,000 cash." She waved it around. She laughed. She put the money back in her purse. She had another beer. A man was watching her. She finished her beer. She left the bar. He followed her. She had watched the news last night. The weatherman had said it was going to rain today. It was going to rain all day today. She got dressed. She put on her rain boots. She put on her raincoat. She grabbed her umbrella. She was ready for the rain. She was wearing her rain boots. She was wearing her raincoat. She had an umbrella in her hand. She walked outside. Something was wrong. What was wrong? It wasn't raining. Where was the rain? She looked up. She looked at the blue sky. She went back inside. She took off her raincoat. He looked at the rising moon. It was rising above the houses. It was big and orange. It looked bigger than the rising sun. How could it be so big? How could it be so orange? Several hours later, he looked at the moon again. Now it was high in the sky. Now it was smaller. It wasn't orange anymore. Now it was white. What happened? It changed size. It changed color. Before, it was big and orange. It was like a big pumpkin. Now it was smaller and white. It was like a light bulb, but it was still pretty. It was still bright. It was the brightest light in the sky. He looked at the bird. It was a blackbird. It was walking on the grass. It was looking for food. Birds have a funny walk. Why do they walk so funny? Because they don't have arms. Arms help people walk. People walk well. Birds don't have arms. They don't walk well. They look funny when they walk. Birds have wings. Wings help birds fly. They use their wings to fly. They fly very well. They are beautiful to watch when they fly. They belong in the sky. They don't belong on the ground. The blackbird found something to eat. It flew up into a tree. It ate the food in the tree. Then it flew away. God takes good people to heaven. He wants good people to be with Him. He leaves bad people on earth. He doesn't want bad people near Him. He lets them do bad things on earth. When they die, He sends them to the devil. The devil makes them work every day. They work next to a big fire. They are always right next to the fire. They are always hot from the fire. They carry coal. The devil makes them carry heavy buckets of black coal. They carry the coal to the fire. They pour the coal on the big fire. Then they refill the big buckets with more coal. They never get a drink of water. They never get to rest. The brothers don't speak to each other. They had a fight. They had a fight a long time ago. The fight was about money. Money can make people happy. Money can make people unhappy. Money can bring people together. Money can tear people apart. It doesn't take a lot of money to tear people apart. Sometimes it takes only a little money. The two brothers were angry about $100, only $100. But they both said, "It's not the money, it's the principle." A principle is a way of life. To tell the truth is a principle. To work hard is a principle. But both brothers lied. It wasn't the principle. It was the money. He was homeless. He was cold. He was shivering. He was in the park. He was sitting on a bench. A sign was next to him. The sign said, "Please hire me. I am homeless." People walked by. They looked at him. He looked dirty. He looked old. How could this man work? He was too old to work. He was too dirty to work. He needed a bath. He needed some food. One lady stopped. She sat down next to him. She said she belonged to a church. She said to come with her. They both got up. He walked with her to the church. The church was warm. He smelled hot food. She said, "Our church will help you." May called her mom. Her mom lived in China. China was far away. Her mom was 50 years old. Her mom had many friends, but she missed her daughter. May lived in America. She was a waitress. She was a waitress in a restaurant. It was a Chinese restaurant. "Guess what, Mama?" May asked. "I met a nice man." Her mom said she was happy. "Will you marry him?" she asked. She wanted May to marry. She wanted a grandson. She wanted a granddaughter. She wanted May to bring her children back to China. "Be patient," May said. "I only met him last month, but he's very nice." Her mom said, "Okay, I will be patient. But hurry up." He had a beautiful car. It was a Cadillac. It was a 1993 Cadillac. It was a four-door Cadillac. It was light brown. It had a big engine. The big engine didn't leak oil. The big engine didn't leak water. He drove his car only 5 miles a day. He took good care of his car. He washed it every week. He washed it by himself. He washed it with dishwashing soap and water. He dried it with paper towels. He vacuumed inside the car every week. He vacuumed it with a small vacuum cleaner. The outside of his car was clean. The inside of his car was clean. He never ate anything inside his car. He never drank anything inside his car. She wanted to have a baby. She wanted to have a baby girl. He wanted to have a baby. He wanted to have a baby boy. He loved her. He said, "Okay, we will have a baby girl." She loved him. She said, "Okay, we will have a baby boy." They both loved each other. They both wanted to make each other happy. He talked to his parents. He asked them what to do. She talked to her parents. She asked them what to do. His parents said, "No problem. Have 2 babies. Have a baby girl and a baby boy." Her parents said the same thing. So they had 2 babies. They had a baby girl, then they had a baby boy. Emily sat down on the sofa. She had a big, soft sofa. It was comfortable. It was a comfortable sofa. She took off her shoes. She put her feet on the coffee table. The TV remote was on the coffee table. She picked up the remote. She pointed it at the TV. She turned on the TV. The news was on. The reporter said that a plane had crashed. More than 100 people died. The reporter said that a bridge had collapsed. More than 20 people died. She turned off the TV. She had enough problems at home. She didn't need to hear about more problems in the world. She had money problems. She had health problems. She had family problems. Who needed to hear about more problems? She used to eat meat. She used to eat a lot of meat. She used to eat beef. She used to eat pork. She used to eat ham. She used to eat chicken. She ate meat every day. She ate bacon for breakfast. She ate a hamburger or hot dog for lunch. She ate meatloaf for dinner. She ate vegetables sometimes. She ate fruit sometimes. She ate salad sometimes. But she ate meat all the time. One day she walked by a dumpster. She smelled something. It smelled bad. It smelled really bad. She opened the dumpster lid. She looked in. She saw an opened package of raw hamburger meat. It was covered with flies and ants. It stunk. She closed the lid. She stopped eating meat. He drove to the supermarket. He was out of food. He had no food in his refrigerator. He had no food in his cupboards. He needed to buy some food. He hoped he would find a sale. A sale would save him money. He walked into the supermarket. He walked over to the produce section. The apples were on sale. The bananas were on sale. It was his lucky day. He loved apples. He loved bananas. The apples were only $1 a pound. The regular price was $2.50 a pound. The bananas were only 49 cents a pound. The regular price was 89 cents a pound. He bought 4 pounds of apples. He bought 4 pounds of bananas. Then he walked over to the dairy section. Maybe the milk was on sale too. She got into her car. She hoped it would start. Sometimes it started immediately. Sometimes it started after 5 minutes. Sometimes it didn't start for 20 minutes. She had taken it to a mechanic. He couldn't fix the problem. He didn't know what the problem was. She had taken it to another mechanic. He knew what the problem was. She needed new spark plugs. He put in the new spark plugs. She paid him. She thanked him. Now her worries were over. She didn't have to worry anymore. Every time she turned the key, her car started immediately. But a week later, her car didn't start immediately. It started after 5 minutes. She called up the mechanic. He said to bring the car in. He would look at it again. She wanted to go for a drive. She told her husband. He said that was a good idea. "Where do you want to go?" he asked. She wanted to drive to the mountains. She wanted to go to Big Bear Lake. Big Bear Lake is high in the mountains. It is 7,000 feet high. It is a 2-hour drive from their home. It takes 2 hours to get there. The lake is big and beautiful. They could park their car next to the lake. They could sit next to the lake. They could watch the boats. They could watch the fishermen. They could watch the squirrels and deer. It is a beautiful drive to Big Bear Lake. The road goes through a big forest full of tall trees. The fox was brown. The fox was quick. The dog was brown. The dog was lazy. "You are a lazy dog," said the fox. "Yes, I am a lazy dog," said the dog. "Why are you a lazy dog?" asked the fox. "Why not?" asked the dog. "My owner feeds me. My owner takes me out for walks. My owner loves me. I eat. I go out for walks. I sleep. I'm a lazy, happy dog." "But don't you have any ambition?" asked the fox. "Ambition? Ambition to do what? I'm just a dog," said the dog. "Lassie was a dog. She saved people's lives," said the fox. "I'm too lazy to save people's lives," said the dog. "Let Lassie save people's lives." Nick was old. Nick was old and sick. His wife was Sherry. Sherry was younger than Nick. Nick was older than Sherry. Nick was 81. Sherry was 61. They had been married for 41 years. They loved each other. "Kill me," Nick said. "You say you love me. If you really love me, you will kill me." "I will not kill you," Sherry said. "You will get better. The pain will go away." Nick had cancer. He had lung cancer. He used to smoke. He used to smoke cigarettes. He used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Nick was in pain every day. "This cancer is killing me," he said. Sherry said, "If the cancer is killing you, it doesn't need my help." It was a new pet store. Brian walked into the new pet store. He said hello to Paul, the owner. Paul said hello to Brian. Brian said, "This is a clean pet store. This is a quiet pet store. This pet store doesn't smell." Brian looked around the store. Brian walked around the store. He didn't see any pets. He didn't see one pet. "Where are the pets?" he asked. "The pets are right here," said Paul. Paul opened a catalog. The catalog was full of pictures. It was full of pictures of pets. "Just pick any pet you like," said Paul. "We will mail it to you." "What if I don't like it?" asked Brian. "Just mail it back," said Paul. The mayor was in a hurry. He was late. He drove his car faster. He didn't want to miss his plane. The traffic light was red. He went through the red traffic light. "I'm glad no police are around," he thought. He heard a siren. He saw a red light behind him. The red light was on top of a police car. The mayor didn't stop. He was in a hurry. He was late. He was the mayor. He drove his car faster. The police car followed the mayor. It followed the mayor to the airport. The mayor got out of his car. The policeman got out of his car. "You're under arrest," he said. "You can't arrest me. I'm the mayor," said the mayor. Doug went to the gas station. "Can I have a job?" he asked. The owner said, "Maybe you can have a job. Can you count money? Can you put gas in a car?" "Yes," said Doug. "I can count money. I can put gas in a car. So, can I have a job?" "There is just one problem," said the owner. "I cannot pay you with money." "You cannot pay me with money?" asked Doug. "What good is that? What will you pay me with? Bananas?" "No," said the owner. "I won't pay you with bananas. You aren't a monkey, are you?" "No, I will pay you with gasoline. I have lots of gasoline." "It's a deal. My car uses lots of gasoline," said Doug. He was a famous cartoonist. He drew political cartoons. His cartoons made fun of presidents. His cartoons made fun of vice presidents. His cartoons made fun of Congress. Politicians hated him. Ordinary people loved him. His name was Paul. He put 400 of his cartoons in a book. He sold the book at a book fair. Many people bought the book. He signed the book for everyone. He autographed the book for everyone. "Why are you selling this book? Do you need extra money?" Becky asked. "Yes, I need extra money," Paul said. "The newspaper laid me off. They said my cartoons are mean. My cartoons make the politicians cry." "But your cartoons tell the truth," Becky said. "Yes, and the truth hurts," said Paul. Jack paid $100,000 for his house. He had bought his house 30 years ago. It was a big house. It had 4 bedrooms. It had 4 bathrooms. Jack was alone. His wife had died. His children had moved out. His house was too big for one man. He decided to sell his house. He called up a real estate agent. She visited Jack. She looked at his house. She looked at all the rooms. She looked at the front yard. She looked at the backyard. She looked at the garage. "This is a beautiful house," she said. "I think this house will sell for $500,000. Jack said, "That's great. I will give $300,000 to my children. I will buy a small house for $200,000. A new neighbor moved in. Will the new neighbor be quiet? Liz wondered. The new neighbor wasn't quiet. The new neighbor was loud. He played his TV loud. He played his music loud. He talked on the phone loud. Loud, loud, loud. He slammed the door when he left his apartment. He slammed the door when he entered his apartment. Slam, slam, slam. He had a basketball. He bounced the basketball everywhere. He bounced it on his apartment floor. He bounced it against his apartment wall. He bounced it off his apartment ceiling. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Liz asked him to be quiet. "Please be quiet," she asked. "I will not be quiet," he said. Liz wanted to kill the new neighbor. Kill, kill, kill. Each September, volunteers clean up the beach. Hundreds of volunteers clean up the beach. They carry empty trash bags. They pick up trash. They fill up the trash bags. They fill up hundreds of trash bags. They put all the trash bags into trucks. The trucks take the trash bags to a landfill. The trash goes from the beach to the landfill. Every year there is more beach trash. Every year there is more landfill trash. Jill picked up trash for 3 years. Finally, she said, "People leave trash here every year. They know we will pick it up. We shouldn't pick it up. In a few years, trash will cover this beach. People will stop coming here. They will stop leaving trash here. Lucy had a cat. His name was Pirate. Pirate was 14 years old. 14 is old for a cat. "What can I do?" Lucy asked her dad. "Pirate is old. He will die soon. I will miss him so much." Dad said, "Why don't you clone him? They will make a brand new pirate for you. It will look like Pirate. It will walk like Pirate. It will meow like Pirate. It will love you like Pirate. But it will be a kitten. It won't be an old cat. It will be a new kitten. You can have a new pirate for 14 more years." "Dad," said Lucy, "that's a great idea. Then when my new pirate is 14, I can get another new pirate." "I'm calling the police," Barry said. "I'm glad you're calling the police," Ruth said. Barry and Ruth had a nice house. They had a nice, quiet house. They had nice neighbors. They had nice, quiet neighbors. But tonight their neighbors were not quiet. They were having a pool party. Everyone was drinking. Everyone was talking loud. Everyone was jumping into the pool. Loud music was playing. Car horns were honking. Barry and Ruth closed all their windows, but they still heard the party. Barry called the police. The policeman said, "We'll be there in an hour or two." Barry asked, "Why not sooner?" "The mayor's having a big party," the policeman said. "Most of our officers are protecting the mayor and his guests." "You have to chop down those 2 trees," said the fire control agent. "Why do I have to chop down those 2 trees?" asked Diane. "Because those 2 trees are a fire hazard," said the fire control agent. "All trees are a fire hazard," said Diane. "Yes, but those 2 trees are a super fire hazard," said the agent. "Why are those 2 trees a super fire hazard?" Diane asked. "Because those 2 trees are right next to your house. Chop them down," he said. Diane was poor. She couldn't afford to pay someone to chop the trees down. The agent said, "Chop them down, or I will fine you." The next day she poured gasoline on both trees. Then she set them on fire. It was New Year's Day. He lived in Las Vegas. He drove over to a casino. He walked over to a roulette table. He bought 1 chip for $100. He flipped a coin. He caught the coin. It was heads. He put the $100 chip on red. The dealer spun the roulette wheel. The wheel went round and round. The dealer pushed the silver ball. The ball went round and round. The wheel slowed down. The ball slowed down. The ball dropped into a red slot. He won. The dealer gave him a $100 chip. He gave the dealer a $10 tip. He cashed in both his chips. He went home. He felt good. It was going to be a good year. They drove to the park. They got in line. Many cars were in front of them. They should have gotten up earlier. "We should have gotten up earlier," said Mom. "I know," said Dad. "We should not have slept in." "I know," said Mom. but sometimes it's nice to sleep in, especially on the weekend. Weekends are for sleeping in." The line moved slowly. Finally, they were at the front of the line. "I'm sorry," said the park ranger. "We're closed." "What?" said Dad. "It's not even noon. How can you be closed?" The ranger said the parking lot was full. There was no place to park. He said to come back tomorrow. "Don't sleep in," said the ranger. "The early bird gets the worm." It was summer. Swim classes were beginning. She didn't know how to swim. She wanted to learn. She called up the pool. "Do you teach adults how to swim?" she asked. The instructor said, "Yes, we teach adults how to swim. We teach kids how to swim. We teach everyone how to swim." She asked, "How much?" "How much do you charge?" she asked. "We charge only $25 for adults," the instructor said. She gave him her name. He put her name on the swim class list. "You are on the swim class list," he said. "Your first lesson is Saturday at noon. Bring $25 and a towel." She asked, "That's all I need to bring?" He said, "I'm sorry. Bring your swimsuit, too." He lived in a nursing home. "I don't have anything to do," he told the nurse. "Why don't you watch TV?" she asked. "I hate watching TV. TV is nothing but reruns," he said. "Why don't you play chess?" she asked. "I hate playing chess," he said. "I always lose." "Why don't you play cards?" she asked. "I hate playing cards. The others always cheat," he said. "Why don't you read a book?" she asked. "I hate reading books," he said. "They give me a headache." "Why don't you take a nice walk?" she asked. "I hate taking walks," he said. "It's always too hot outside." "Why don't you take a nap?" she asked. "That's a good idea," he said. "I like taking naps." Many homeless people were sitting on the sidewalk. A young man walked up to each homeless person. He gave each person a flyer. The flyer was from a trade school. The flyer described a class. The trade school was offering a barber class. The class was free for homeless people. Matt read the flyer. He talked to the man. Matt said he wanted to take the class. The man wrote down Matt's name. He told Matt to go to the school on Monday. "How long does the class last?" Matt asked. "The class lasts 8 weeks," the man said. "Will the school find me a job?" Matt asked. "No, you have to find your own job," the man said. "We can only do so much." Brad was angry. He was angry at the apartment building manager. The apartment building manager had kicked him out. "If you can't pay the rent," the manager said, "I have to kick you out." "But I always pay the rent on time," Brad said. "That's nice, but you're supposed to always pay the rent on time," said the manager. One evening, Brad drove to the gas station. He bought a gallon of gas. He put the gas into a gas can. He waited until 11 p.m. The manager lived in a corner apartment. His apartment was on the ground floor. Brad waited until the manager's lights went out. He poured all the gas in the hall near the manager's door. He lit a match. He stopped at the motel. It was late at night. It was almost midnight. He asked the motel clerk, "Do you have a vacant room?" She said she had a vacant room. He asked how much it was. She said it was $100 for the night. "But the night is half over," he said. "Can I pay half price for the room?" She said yes. "But there is one condition," she said. "If we only get half, you only get half. You must sleep on only one half of the bed. You can use only one of the 2 pillows. The bathroom has hot and cold water faucets. You can use only one faucet. The cable TV has 100 channels. You can watch only 50 channels." It was time for the annual blood drive. He told his girlfriend, "I'm going to give blood tomorrow." She said, "Don't do that. You could get a disease." He asked, "I could get a disease? How could I get a disease?" She said, "You never know. What if a nurse trips and stabs you with a dirty needle?" He said that was ridiculous. Nurses don't trip. Nurses don't stab blood donors with dirty needles. He went to the blood drive the next day. He watched the nurses carefully. None of them tripped. None of them stabbed a blood donor with a dirty needle. He gave blood. He told his girlfriend that no one had tripped and stabbed him. She said he was lucky this time. "I'm not coming to this art fair again," said Molly. "Why aren't you coming to this art fair again?" asked Terry. "There aren't enough visitors," Molly said. "That's for sure," said Terry. "There aren't enough visitors spending money." "That's for sure," said Molly. Visitors stopped and looked at Molly's paintings. Visitors stopped and looked at Terry's paintings. Visitors said Molly's paintings were very nice. Visitors said Terry's paintings were very nice. But no one bought anything. "No one buys anything," said Molly. They stop. They look. They say, "Oh, how pretty." Then they walk on. Molly and Terry had not sold one painting. They lowered their prices. They put "Sale, 50% off" tags on all their paintings. But no one bought a single painting. The police chief said crime was down. "Crime is down," said Police Chief Braden. He talked to TV reporters. He talked to newspaper reporters. He talked to radio reporters. He was proud. "I'm proud," he said. "Our police are doing a good job. I'm proud of our police." He said crime was down 50%. "What kinds of crime?" asked a reporter. "All kinds of crime," said Braden. "Bicycle theft is down 60%. Cell phone theft is down 55%. Computer theft is down 50%. He didn't say anything about other crimes. "What about other crimes?" asked a reporter. "What other crimes?" asked Braden. "You should be happy with this news. Report it to the public. The public will be happy too." The man walked into a bank. He wore a hoodie. He wore gloves. It was summertime. It was hot outside. No one else was wearing a hoodie. No one else was wearing gloves. The bank guard looked at the man. "Why are you wearing a hoodie?" the bank guard asked. "Why are you wearing gloves?" The man said he had a disease. He had a contagious disease. He coughed. He coughed again. The bank guard backed away. He did not want to get a disease. He stopped watching the man. He watched other people enter the bank. He forgot about the man with the contagious disease. A few minutes later, the man ran out of the bank. He was carrying a money bag. Alex wanted to become a citizen. He signed up for a citizenship class. He went to the first class. The teacher spoke only Spanish. All the other students spoke only Spanish. Alex spoke Spanish too. He asked the teacher, "Why are you speaking Spanish? We need to speak English. We need to understand English. We need to read English. We need to write English." The teacher said, "Don't worry. English isn't important anymore. My students never fail the interview. Can you say yes in English? Can you say no in English? Then your English is good enough. You want to become a citizen. That is more important than your English." Alex dropped out. He signed up for another citizenship class. The teacher spoke only English. His laptop sat on his desk. His laptop always overheated. It always overheated quickly. How could he keep it cool? He turned on his living room fan. It cooled his laptop. But the fan blew dust around. It blew paper around. He turned off his living room fan. He thought some more. How could he keep his laptop cool? He had an idea. He bought little plastic blocks. Each block was 1 inch square. He put the laptop on top of the blocks. 1 block was under each corner of the laptop. Now the laptop sat a little above the desk. There was space under the laptop. There was space for cool air to flow. The cool air prevented overheating. The days were hot. The nights were hot. He turned on the living room fan. He turned on the dining room fan. Both fans were on high speed. They made a lot of noise, but they didn't blow cool air. They blew hot air. They blew hot air everywhere. He turned off the fans. He turned on the air conditioner. He closed all the windows. He closed the front door. The apartment began to cool down. It got cooler and cooler. Then he heard a bang. It was a loud bang. He thought a plane had crashed onto the roof. But it wasn't a plane. It was the air conditioner compressor. It had broken down. He opened the door. He opened the windows. He couldn't find his pen. "Where is my pen?" he wondered. He looked for his pen. It was on top of the microwave. He couldn't find his cell phone. "Where is my cell phone?" he wondered. He looked for his cell phone. It was on top of the TV. He couldn't find his glasses. "Where are my glasses?" he wondered. He looked for his glasses. They were on top of his head. "I'm tired of looking for everything," he thought. He invented a tiny video recorder. It recorded everything he did. It recorded everywhere he went. He couldn't find his toothbrush. Where is my toothbrush? He wondered. He played his tiny video recorder. He found his toothbrush. He didn't have to look for it. He called up the post office. Where is my package? He asked. What is the tracking number? The postal worker asked. He told her the tracking number. She said, Your package is at the main post office. You can pick it up any time. He said, I don't want to pick it up. Can you deliver it? She said, Yes. We will deliver it on Monday, she said. Will you be home? He said, What time on Monday? She said, Any time between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. He said, I have to work. I can't stay home all day. She said, That's okay. We can deliver it on Tuesday. He said, I have to work on Tuesday too. Please deliver it on Saturday. He dropped his toothbrush. It fell on the floor. He picked up his toothbrush. He rinsed it off. He brushed his teeth. He rinsed his mouth. He walked out of the bathroom. He sat on his bed. He felt something. It was under the sheet. He took the sheet off the bed. Something was in his mattress. It was a brand new mattress. He had bought it yesterday. What is in the mattress? He wondered. He went to the kitchen. He took a knife from the kitchen drawer. He cut open the mattress. What could it be? He wondered. It was small. It was black. It was a book. It was the New Testament. Is God trying to tell me something? He wondered. Some people stood on the small pier. They saw a boat approach. The boat was approaching fast. The boat was approaching the small pier. Was the boat going to stop? People started running. They started running off the pier. They were worried. They were worried about the boat. The boat kept coming. It didn't slow down. One man stood on the pier. He didn't run. He yelled at the boat. He waved his arms. He yelled, "Stop! Stop! You're going to crash!" But the boat didn't stop. It kept coming. The man kept yelling. The boat kept coming. Is the driver drunk? The man wondered. He ran as fast as he could. He ran off the pier. The boat crashed into the pier.